and welcome back to the Anchor of the Week, where you do not have to agree with us to be friends with us. It's Sadie and Courtney here with a very special guest. Salma!
I was trying to pick up the vibe here.
Sorry, I was just ready. I'm so excited to have Salma on this podcast.
Me too.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
She's excited to be here. Are you nervous at all?
A little, like, not as nervous as I thought I'd be. So.
Love that.
That's good.
Love that for you.
Honestly, it's great.
Salma is one of those friends that keep us anchored. We'll obviously yap a lot about her today.
Yeah.
And why she keeps us anchored, because that's like our whole thing, right? You don't have to agree with us to be friends with us.
Right.
Salma and I have had our fair share of disagreement over the years. But that's the thing. Salma, I mean, we've been friends for
almost 7 years now.
7 years.
Yeah.
We've lived together, I think, almost that entire time.
Yeah.
Salma is one of those people. You'll notice, guys, already that she's very different than me and Sadie. And like, I don't know, Sadie and I would just yell in your face all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and I hope that you're not
Oh,
offended
no.
by that.
I agree 100%.
Okay, I'm so glad we could have that moment. I was like, and the podcast is over now.
And just like that, thank you so much. I lay down my mic.
I lay down my mic.
That's a bar right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
In one of Salma's next poems,
Hey.
because
She's a writer.
Salma's also a writer.
Also, okay, sorry. This is the most chaotic opening that we've ever done. But time out.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Did you guess?
Did you? Did you guess?
Did you guess who did the intro of last episode correct?
Drum roll.
Alyssa!
I feel like you had to guess. Honestly, it's very Alyssa.
Only if you know her, though. So then,
That's true.
okay, so one day we're going to get famous people.
Yeah.
Everybody will know. Not to be on the podcast. Couldn't care less.
No, just the opening.
Just give us a jingle.
Wow.
But yeah, and then come back next week to find out who did today's. Anyway, back to Salma and being friends for 7 years.
That's a long time to be
Yeah,
friends.
it's a long time.
Especially like as adults. Like that.
Yeah.
That says
True.
a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so you've been like one of those people in my life. And again, as I said, like we've lived together for so long. And it was only recently, I don't know, it was like last year or something that you and I kind of like looked at each other and we were like, oh my gosh, we actually know each other so well.
Yeah.
But it was like one of those things where it's like, it's not like we ever went like, oh, you know, like we're going to get to know each other, become good friends. It's just all of a sudden you realize that there's someone in the room that knows your every habit, every mannerism,
Yeah.
everything. And it's
Yeah.
scary. It's like marriage, but like not at all.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's prepping me for
It
that.
is prepping. Yeah, there we go.
You're welcome. No.
Also, I want to say before we dive into the full conversation and just talking about how great Salma is, you
That's
may
the
notice
topic.
that
Just
is the topic. That will be the title of this
Wow.
episode. How great Salma
my
is.
Episode before it was, Are you scared of greatness?
Are you scared of Salma? Because Salma's great.
Are you scared of greatness? Are you scared of Salma?
Should be.
Anyway, as I was saying, you may notice there's a lot of noise going on. It's a bustling day here at the Caves.
Yeah. You might see, maybe I'll post it on Instagram, but
Yeah.
we are in a corner of a room. We're not in Access Studio. The past 2 weeks have not been in Access Studio. But around us is literally just stuff and construction.
Pure chaos.
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 You would not know that, but here we are.
But yeah, just letting people know so they don't freak out when they hear
Right.
everything else that's happening.
I wonder if they're going to freak out.
I doubt it.
I believe in our listeners.
I believe in them as well. Mainly my mom. I believe that she won't freak out.
Yeah.
Neither will
She know,
Leanne.
they know the
Come
lives
on.
we
Very
live.
brave. Yeah.
I'm waiting for Jacinia.
Oh yeah.
And Larry? Yeah, they're going to watch this.
They're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Hey, big fans.
For sure.
Big fan to you guys.
Genuinely.
Also, why do I feel like the start of this episode is I need to get things off my chest.
Continue, please.
But I'm using, just spat everywhere. I'm too excited. I'm using the mic that we used to use for the streets because we couldn't use Access Studio today because they've got another booking, which is great, amazing, love it. But our third mic, we'd always borrow from them.
It's true. Yeah.
So I feel like at any given moment, I'm about to burst into like
A song. It's the chord. It's the big what is this, like cover thing?
I don't even know what you call it.
I don't know. Yeah. Mic
But
cover.
Something about it. Yeah.
Something about it.
Something about it. So if that happens, y'all.
Yeah.
Don't blame me. It's the conditions.
To be fair, you may see this later on socials and you may not, but Courtney has been using this mic to sing the Star Spangled Banner. But more specifically, the Fergie rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. Since
As a
before we
non-American,
recorded.
so I actually might have got some of the lyrics wrong. I don't think so.
I don't think you
I
did.
think I'm pretty
you did,
good.
Yeah, that's what was impressive.
Because I believe in being cultured.
Hey.
Just kidding. Can I sing the UK one? No.
I literally just in my head was like, is there a UK one? There is. I know there is.
Send him victorious.
I know it ends with like,
happy and glorious.
God save the king.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's all I know.
That's all I got.
Anyway, guys,
Nice,
thanks for
so.
tuning in today. That was it.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
Hey, thanks
follow
for
us on
having
our
me, yeah.
socials.
We're so glad you could be here
Yeah.
for this.
What an honor.
But it is actually interesting having Salma here. I don't know. I'm speaking for both of us now.
Yeah.
But like, I just feel so much more comfortable than
feel
I
so
feel like
comfortable.
any other conversation we've ever had. Sorry to every other person that we've had on the podcast.
Can you
Wow.
imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe that's not a good thing, though, that we feel so comfortable.
This thing is, you've known each other for 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've known Salma for 5 years.
It's
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah, 5 years. Wow.
Whoa.
Because you moved to London in 2020,
Mhm.
No. Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
right?
Little less than
2021.
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
came in the end of 2020 and then went home for a year and then came
Okay.
back,
You
which
went
is
for
another
a
thing
year
about yeah,
before you moved
Mhm.
back. Wow.
crazy. But that's another thing that's great about Salma is I like to say that like I was Salma's birthday present in
Sure.
2022
Yeah.
because I literally arrived in London on her birthday.
Mhm.
And not only that, Salma was the one to pick me up from the airport. She volunteered to pick me up from the airport on her birthday.
Wow.
Which, hashtag never forget.
Hey,
True
it's a
friend.
So
great
this is
birthday
actually
present.
this is just to commemorate that moment.
Wow.
This
Yeah.
whole podcast, we're gonna
Yeah.
take turns doing speeches.
Honestly, yeah. Uplifting Salma.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so guys, as you can see, we love Salma. Salma has been a constant in our lives.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're gonna give the backstory of like the actual reason why, or not the actual reason we invited you on. We could have come with 100 different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're gonna tell the story of what made Sadie and I look at each other and go,
Wait,
"What
Salma.
about Salma?"
Yeah.
Okay, so you were asked a couple weeks ago
Mhm.
to preach at church.
Yeah.
And like, do you like public speaking, Salma?
No.
Yes. In fact, everyone like roasts you about it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
okay, how would it, before I go and just make
Yeah.
all these generalizations, how would you describe your demeanor?
That's a
Oh,
good
so-
question.
Yeah. Like, like how do I mean, I'd definitely say like I'm more of like a, I don't know, like soft-spoken
Yeah.
person. Like.
That's what it is, soft spoken.
Yeah. Like I definitely prefer to like stay more like in the background. Like I don't like putting myself in like positions like I don't know, like public speaking or like center of attention, you know, it's not really
All eyes
that-
on Salma
Yeah,
now.
no. Nothing.
Which, because you're not an introvert, which I feel like
No.
people
No.
get very like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
you know, like, yeah, you love people. You're probably
Oh, yeah.
actually more social than me
Than
and
me.
Yeah.
Sadie,
Genuinely.
you know.
Genuinely.
But we're just like
Mhm.
in your face about it when we
Yeah.
are, you know. And so that was something that, yeah, I think
Mhm.
everyone like knows that about you. And so
Yeah.
most people give you a bit of a hard time,
Yeah.
like in a fun, loving
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
You
teasing
You
me,
know,
Yeah.
everyone needs to be in the center of attention every
Yeah.
once in a while. But that was sort of like
Mhm.
how everyone, like, or coming into this,
Yeah.
understood you, saw you, how you
Mhm.
understood yourself.
Yeah.
But then you got asked to preach, and never forget that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was so cool because essentially we watched you kind of have like a, I can't do
Yeah.
this. Like, what the heck? Like, absolutely not.
Mhm.
But then being willing to be like, okay, actually, like, this could be really good for me. Maybe I actually do have something that, you know, God wants to say through me.
Yeah.
And then you did it, and you did a great job. And it just really inspired me and Sadie to be
Yeah.
like, wow, like, I don't know if there's such like a practical example of putting yourself outside of your comfort zone because you
Yeah.
know that it is good, you know, and
Yeah.
like not letting your personality
Yeah.
like dictate your opportunity.
Mhm.
Was that good?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
don't
I don't know
know.
if you have anything to add to that.
Well, yeah,
Sadie.
because I also feel like we said this as a joke as well, but like that Sunday when you were preaching, like Courtney and I were in the front row, just like proud moms, just like
Yeah.
look at her. But I think something else for me personally that I realized as well watching that is like you, and I've seen this before as well because you've taught before. I've seen you do, you know,
Yeah.
spoken words as well. Like you're never like putting on a performance. Like for me, it never feels like you're up there like, okay, now I am here, Salma at the mic. It is literally just like you being honest and like open and vulnerable and like handling it, I don't know, with such grace. I feel like that's like, I don't know, everyone uses that word, but like genuinely like being able to hold the mic with grace, you know, and to use it. And so I remember watching you preach and I'm like, that is what's really inspiring, because I know I struggle with quote unquote performing sometimes, especially because when I am an actor, but also it's easy for me to get on a mic to like, we talked about this in the last episode about like being queen of the mics, right? Like we can handle a mic well and I can get up there and say and whatever, be in your face about it. But sometimes it is just performing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I admire about you, is that you're never performing. You're just honest, you know, when you're up on the mic. So that's, I don't know, that's my other takeaway from watching you. But I'm curious when it comes to like, when you do stuff, especially spoken word, because that is also something that you do, spoken word, poetry, and like if it, I don't know, what is your thought process when you are having to perform in that capacity,
right,
without being, I don't know, overly like excessive, because that's not who you are.
Yeah.
I don't know if that question makes any sense.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, for me, like, because like I said, like I don't love like public speaking or anything like that, but I also do very much have a heart for like, I don't know, spoken word, and like teaching and stuff like that, you know? So I think like, I don't know, the thought process for me, like kind of going off what you said, like I just over the years have had to learn, like, I don't know, just like watching other leaders and other examples, like they go up there and they're themselves, like whether they're like loud, outgoing personalities or more soft spoken. So it's more like actually taking the time to be like, okay, like what do I have to bring to the table, and actually like thinking, like rather than thinking like, okay, like how can I give my best performance? But like, I don't know if this is actually answering your question, but you know, just like taking the time to be like, okay, like what is it that I had to bring to the table? Because if like, for example, of church, like if I'm being asked to, you know, preach, then I have something to bring, you know, like
Someone's seen something.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's seeing something that maybe I don't see in myself. So like actually like taking time to be like, okay, like I don't know, like refocusing in a way rather than like allowing myself to go into that spiral of like I can't do this, or trying to take on like, I don't know, like someone else's like personality or like I don't know, like gifts, you know?
Yeah.
So
Taking on someone's gifts.
Yeah. How do you do that though? Like practically, like, because I can assume obviously comparison is a thing.
Yeah.
You know, so what is sort of like your thought process of getting to like, okay, like maybe I should be like them. Okay, no, I shouldn't be like them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you get from A to B? Because I think so many people would be like, oh yeah, that's great, but like, I don't know how to do that. You know?
Yeah. I don't know, because like for me, like I would say, I'm trying to think of how to put it in words. I'm also distracted by the sound.
You're like, just be better. Like, I don't know.
Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like.
Or is it for you just like a choice and then you move?
I think so. Like for me, it's also just like allowing myself to be simple in the process, because I don't know, because when it comes to like things like this, like I feel like I started off like trying to like, I don't know, like almost like take control of everything, or like try to make sure that everything's perfect, like that I have like perfect notes and that. I don't know, like I start like almost like, I don't know, like I just like start picturing scenarios and like trying to like imagine like every little outcome. So for me, it's more like, okay, like again, like I'm trying to go into this just as myself, so I'm gonna go into this simply, you know, like not allowing myself to like overcomplicate it, overthink it, you know.
That is and like the simplicity of just being yourself and understanding, I think what, as you said, what you bring to the table. And wow, because I'm like, okay, what about like imposter syndrome, all these things? But to be fair, if I even asked you that, I feel like we'd get to the same answer of like, there's a simplicity of what do you bring to the table. Nobody is asking you to bring more, less, whatever.
Then
like,
exactly.
Who you are,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah, and I think it was maybe you, like when I was first asked to preach, you like told me like, I'm not supposed to go up there and act like you or Chris or Eric, you know, like.
I did say
and
that.
I like I definitely needed that in that moment, you know. It's like no, it's true, you know. Like they didn't ask me to go up there and like give, you know, like a preaching like you guys, you know, like they asked me knowing very well, like I don't know who I am, how I am, you know, before a crowd. So, like,
exactly.
And like
exactly.
I don't know, like realizing that also like gave me a lot of peace. Like it's like, okay, they're not expecting me to like, I don't know, like look like a certain way or like you know, speak in a certain way. You're like, they know who I am. Like, you guys know who I am. So, like, there was also, like, that, like, I don't know, just, like, rest in that as well.
That's so, Sadie, you.
I'm just like,
She's either dissociating
No.
for good or bad reason. I can't
no,
tell.
genuinely, like, I was telling, okay, because this is the other thing, is when Courtney and I decided, we were talking about having you on, we were like, what are we going to talk about? Courtney and I were working a shift at Think last week, or something. And I kid you not, got teary-eyed because I was like,
Oh, she actually did.
I did,
It was
because I
real.
was just like, I'm so much inspired by Salma, and like I admire her so much, and very specifically, like just even that, the whole thing of you saying like the simplicity of the like what did you say, something about simplicity in the process?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the simplicity of bringing who you are and being honest with that. Like I'm like, wow, how many times have I stepped into a room, a role, or whatever, thinking that I need to fill this said role a certain way when I'm not at all called to do that. I'm literally just called to be Sadie in this position. Yeah. And like.
Yeah.
Literally, that's like I'm just like sitting here like, oh my gosh.
But also the realization, right, of like, okay, if someone asks you to do something, even like with jobs, it's like, they know who they hired. Like, why do we all of a sudden go, oh, and then I have to be something else to fill this position?
Right.
Like, we're just very much so we think that other people expect something different, maybe because we expect something different from ourselves.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's that whole thing of like, like literally, I was like, if you went up there and started like acting like me,
We'd all be like, what the heck?
You know what I mean? Like, well, that is actually so interesting.
But also how you said like it's so easy to like from the get-go get, like you said, get presented with this thing of I need you to preach, and then to overcomplicate it. Yeah. But then to be like, okay, no, like I don't know, that's just so wise to be like, okay, I'm gonna shut that down and I'm gonna come simply to whatever this task is. Because I think a lot of people can just immediately like you said, whether they're wanting to, you know, put on a performance or whatever for a role or something, but even on the other side of controlling every single bit and every single outcome, every possibility, like that's just, I don't know, it's very good. It's very like eye-opening, I think, for me.
That's
Something I want to touch on, that you said in your preaching about pace and all of these different things.
This is great if you want to go hear it.
Honestly, you need to. I think everybody needs to.
It will be on YouTube and Spotify one day. I don't know if it's up yet.
Very soon.
I haven't checked.
I just realized I lost my train of thought.
You said something about pace.
Yeah, but it was something before that, but it'll come back. To
Okay. What I would love to know though, again, like I'm like, okay, for anyone listening to this, like how practical can we get with this? So you were asked. Your initial thought was, what? I can't do that. That's not me. Like, what was your initial thought?
Pretty much that. Yeah, I was like, he's asking the wrong person, and I feel like in that moment I started thinking of other people he should have asked, and I'm like, which again is like that whole thing of like comparison or like being like, no, this person is like more natural, like behind the mic, or like they're better at public speaking.
Interesting.
Wow. And it was in that moment when I started comparing, I was like, no, I have to say yes. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was it, because then I was wondering, what was like the trigger moment where you were like,
yeah, because it was basically that. It's like as soon as I started thinking of every excuse that I shouldn't, I was like, no, this is why I should. Because, you know, like I knew in that moment I was limiting myself, and I was limiting like the way that God could use me as well. So I was like, okay, like this is gonna be very uncomfortable. Like, but
and that is exactly what I was thinking. That just reminded me, because you said how you were like, you were presented with this thing, and you're like, no, like there's no way. But I don't know how your brain works of just being like, okay, no, but this is a chance for me to grow into something, to be stretched, to allow myself to get, like you said, like you don't want to limit yourself. Yeah. Which I think is, again, just a callback to what we were talking about last week, almost to a degree, or the last episode, of like, are people like even scared to step into, like people are scared to step into, I'm not saying people are scared to be like, okay, if they're presented with this thing, it's easy for them to go, oh no,
that's
no,
not
thank you, that's not me, I can't do that, thank you so much, but no, you know. But just like the wherewithal that you have to be like, actually, now that I'm comparing and I'm overreacting and I'm overthinking, maybe this is something I should step into. You know, that stretching thing. So again, is that just like a choice, or was there ever a moment that like what got you to that point? I feel like whether it was other scenarios or things that you went through that made you go, okay, this is something I need to actually like, like when I'm presented with this thing, I can grow in it. Yeah,
because I think like for me, like, I don't know, like I learned a lot about this like during my leadership school that I did here back in 2019. Yeah. Yeah, because going into it, I was like, I don't know why.
Like,
yeah.
I was remembering my leadership school.
But like I went into this leadership school, like almost feeling like an imposter in a way. It's like, I don't know why I'm going into this, like, because I don't know. Like, I'm not like the stereotypical leader, you know, like like when people think of leaders, they think of like, I don't know, like the bigger, louder personalities, whereas that's not who I am. So throughout like those 3 months, I had to basically unlearn like what it means to be a leader, like not like to talk down people who are those bigger personalities, because they can also make wonderful leaders, but you know, it was like unlearning the idea that a leader has to be like, have to tick all these boxes and like look a certain way.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like allowing myself to be in those positions, like where I had to lead or like, I don't know, present myself before a crowd or things like that, and just like, I don't know, like again, just allow my idea of what a leader is to shift, which I think has given me like a bit more of like the confidence to actually like step into things that seem like uncomfortable, like I don't know, like that just seemed like something beyond like what I would like think for myself, you know.
That's so good. Because it's like, it's not our personality that decides whether or not we have the capacity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I have these giftings, I have these skills, I can step into this, and my personality would be just how it flows out, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So for someone it might be, you know, loud, other might be quiet, you know what I mean? But it's like, that does not actually affect the gift or the skill at all. You know, or the calling, or the, you know, the purpose. It's funny, I've actually just been working on Eric on a little talk for young adults tonight, and a lot of it has to do with this. What design and purpose, that like, you were designed a certain way, you have a purpose, but like, you live your purpose through your design. Like, we all have personalities, we all have things that we like, don't like, want to see, whatever that God has like given us. So like, why do we expect them to look cookie cutter? You know, because the way that I super expressively reach people might be a turn off to some people, but they're gonna listen to you because you've got that quiet, still, strong voice.
Right.
You know, like we're not supposed to reach the exact same people.
Amen.
Mic drop.
Amen. No, genuinely.
So I get so passionate about this,
Yeah.
and this is like nice to know that I get passionate about this.
Yeah.
We need all types of, you know, like Anyway, if we were all supposed to be the same, we would all have been created the same.
Exactly.
And we're not. So.
Well said.
Okay. Well. Moving on from that. So like, have you always like, I don't know, like felt, I guess, misunderstood? Have you always felt misunderstood? What in the therapy is happening? Because I can imagine. Just attacked. Or like, I guess, misunderstood, or like, okay, being put into a box. I think we all have in certain areas of our life. But like, okay, if you were the quiet girl. Do you know what I mean? Like, what was... Does that...
Yeah, it makes sense.
Does that mean anything?
Does that resonate?
Like, definitely, you know, like, like I'd say especially like, I don't know, as I stepped more into like a leadership role, but I feel like almost at times like I kind of misunderstand myself, if that makes sense. Like, again, like,
Honestly, here.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm almost like the first one to put myself into a box, you know? Like,
Very fair.
it's like, okay. But again, kind of like what you were saying in the beginning, even, you know, like I am very extroverted. Like I love like being with people and working with people, but you know, like you might not realize that at first glance when you like see me just like, I don't know, standing quietly like in a group of people, you know, maybe not contributing much to the conversation, but
loving it.
Yeah, exactly. But
Sorry
you know,
for this
It is actually funny. We've always said like, Salma is like the last to leave the party, which is
100%.
like people may not realize it, but once you know it, you're like, like once you clock it, you're like, So she's always at the party. She's always the last to leave the party. And she makes the like quietest, most like funniest remarks sometimes.
That's the best.
And then just like, just goes back to just observe. It's great. It's great.
It's awesome. What I think, because what I kind of like see, obviously when we have a conversation though, my first thought is, okay, so how are people going to take this the wrong way? You know?
Interesting.
But that's why I asked that, because I think there's that one side of like, your personality is your personality. And like, you know, like you don't have to change in that. But then also don't go to the other side where it's like, but this is who I am. Do you know what I mean? And I do feel like, okay, the more that you are in front of people, for example, the more that you will be comfortable and maybe become more outspoken just out of time, you know?
Exactly,
And like, so I just, I'm just thinking about that too. Or like that kind of side of it. So it's like, our personalities are a gift. They're something God gave us, but like, they also need to be refined.
Oh, for sure.
And like, can change and adapt.
For sure. Which
Thank
I think
you.
it like I think it comes back to right like the whole idea of anchoring everything, right? And the idea of balance, because you can have both extremes, like you said, like both ends of this both
spectrum.
Literally both ends.
We're just calling out Salma's half Chilean roots.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. A spectrum.
Como se dice? Isn't that Italian?
No, that's right.
Oh, okay. Well, that was extra embarrassing, actually.
But yeah, but like it is interesting, like coming to a place of being able to like balance yourself in both, right? Of like, okay, being, because I feel like I'm kind of on this journey, to be very real, of like who am, like stepping more into who I am and honoring that, and knowing that like I'm even allowing myself to be changed and refined right now of like who I thought I was. You know, I'm moving into my late 20s of like, you know, when you're in your early 20s, you think you know exactly who you are. This is me, whatever. And God is kind of like refining me. So I'm finally allowing him to do that. But then not being so like arrogant at the same time of being like, oh, okay, God, like he's telling me who I am, so this is who I am, you know? And like almost being able to like hold that with, I don't know, humility. I feel like it's the only way to say it correctly. Which I feel like, coming back to you do very, very well. Not to like hype you up, but I feel like, so it's actually like, I don't know, it is interesting being able to talk to you and like see different things and to look at it differently than how I think.
And just like, I don't know if this is a tangent, but like slightly off that too. Like I really do feel like God does refine us through experiences. So that's why, like, a lot of times where I'm like, a personality is going to change when we handle different things, when we go through different things, or I guess be refined. But again, then, I mean, it's not that much of a tangent, because to bring it back, then it's like, well, you choosing to step out and preach refined you in a new way,
exactly,
you know? And like, so maybe this isn't a tangent. Maybe this is kind of like wrapping it back to the beginning, but allowing, not feeling the pressure to be someone you're not, but taking like the chances and like the steps out of the comfort zone. To be refined, but also I think like there's so much to us, as you said, like you're the first person to put yourself in a box. I think a lot of times we are, but I feel like there is so much within us that we don't even know about.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, like I know you're saying like being like your late 20s. I was actually just thinking this morning, so obviously she's almost 30. Have I said this every episode? Maybe. That's okay. But I had this moment where I was like, I actually kind of like, I think I like it. Which is crazy. I'm so glad everyone
I feel
feels
like
this
round of
with
applause.
me.
Almost like,
But I had this moment of like, I'm actually not at all who I was when I was 21. Like, there's a lot of things like when, you know, when I see my mom and stuff, like, she's like, like in you is still that same kid that was putting on shows and doing all these, you know. But at the same time, like from lived experience, I feel so much more like settled in who I am. I think I just want that for everybody. Like, actually, like.
But it's like also being settled in who you are, but still being comfortable when change. Like when God wants to change something.
Because it's like, you know, you look back and you see, okay, well, actually, like everything that he's refined and everything that's been changed about my personality, or like, we say that, but you know what I mean? Just of us as humans.
Right.
Like that was all like, it led me to a good spot. So to be fair, whatever I'm going to live the next decade might not be easy, but like I know it's going to leave me in a good spot. Because look at what happened in the past 10 years.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
exactly.
We all just want to be better.
We want to be refined. Yes.
Want to be who we were created to be.
Amen.
Why did I thank you? Sound like every Christian girl like podcast. Like, want to be who I'm created to be.
No offense, we love you. You're using your personality.
This is also a Christian girl podcast.
We have a
we're
personality.
reaching a different group.
I feel like that could be a whole sub podcast because Sadie and I talk about that a lot. Like,
true.
And how judgment comes in.
Genuine.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because you're like, oh, just because I wouldn't do it that way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You automatically judge instead.
Like, I wonder if 20-year-old Courtney listened to Salma feeling insecure, and if I was like, oh, well, like, I would have said it like this, or like I would have like whatever. I didn't think it at all. I'm so proud of you.
Someone's like,
big fan.
Like, okay.
And I've lost Salma as a friend. Past 7
years gone.
In an instant.
I don't even know what I was
Oh,
talking
man.
about. I was trying to, I don't know.
Anchor, gotta bring it down.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, everyone that's using their gifts and they're fulfilling their purpose through their
Yeah.
design, good job. We're for you.
Hats off.
Even if it might not be the way we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Salma,
Mhm.
any final words? Any final things you want to get off your
Oh.
chest?
Now's the
Anything that-
time.
yeah.
I know you've got things you
On
want to get off
air.
your chest about.
On
Yeah.
air. She's like, actually, pulls out a
Okay,
list.
like, okay.
Here's
I've been
everything
waiting for
that
this.
you've ever.
Imagine.
That's awful.
Yeah.
It's not awful. I do a lot of things to get on Selma's nerves
Yeah,
on
so-
purpose, but like out of love.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
I feel like we all do, no?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'm not thinking about what you do. And sorry.
Yep.
Like
Anyway.
like in that sense.
No, yeah, 100%. Anyway.
Yeah.
How many times has this friendship been on the rocks?
Yeah.
We have a counter in the corner.
I know. But ironically,
Yeah.
not at all.
Exactly.
Because our friendship is anchored.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Right.
Anchored. Yes.
So I wasn't quite sure what we were doing.
Nobody was quite sure.
Hey, but
That's our new thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So do you have anything
Yeah.
to get off your chest?
I think that
No.
covers, yeah.
Great, because nothing can be added or subtracted
Yeah.
in this podcast.
Yeah.
After this is your verbal agreement.
Yes,
we-
yeah. It's like I will not be suing you guys.
Right on.
Good.
Yeah. Well, no, this honestly, I feel like this has just been such a fun chat. Like,
Yeah,
I
honestly.
feel like people
Been
just
great.
got to see, around our kitchen table almost.
Yeah.
Genuinely, yeah.
This is what this feels
Yeah.
like.
This is-
But yeah,
Mhm.
big takeaways, Sadie. Do you have any big takeaways?
Honestly, I think just like making the choice.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm getting the most of. It's
Yeah.
just like when I'm presented with something, making the choice of how to react and to walk in it, basically.
No, that's so good.
That's
Yeah.
my
Something else I realized that you'd said that I was
Mhm.
going to elaborate on, but then I think we probably
Yeah.
just got all giggly. Was that like you identified what were excuses, and
Mm.
because you were making excuses,
Yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
well, excuses are not an excuse.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
And so I would like to get better at recognizing or being
Yeah.
quick to recognize when my thoughts are actually excuses.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry, and my other thing I took away. I'm also just like so much
thinking
take
back.
away. But yeah, just like the simplicity of it. Like
Mhm.
there's no need to overthink, but like being simple in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's so true.
yeah,
Definitely
like-
easier said than done.
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
And then my other
Yeah.
thing is like you don't have to be somebody completely different.
Mm.
Be willing to be uncomfortable, be refined,
Yeah.
grow,
Mhm.
change.
Yeah.
But like no one is asking you to be like somebody else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think we're good.
I think
Yeah.
we're good.
Okay,
So
guys.
thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This is great.
I'm
Yeah.
glad they had a good time. Would you come back?
Yeah.
We got it. We got to record it.
It was very high pitched.
I'm shutting down the excuses.
And there you have it, folks. In live time. That's what this mic is. It's like a sideline reporter.
It
Oh my
is.
gosh.
News anchor.
on the corner,
Yeah.
just like thanks so much, Branson. Whatever. Back in the studio.
Back to the studio. Wow, this has been such a giggle. And we
Yeah,
should
it's
probably
great.
stop because
We
I think we
should.
could just giggle
Yeah.
all day long.
That sounds like we've digressed so hard, but it's
Yeah.
been great.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
you guys know where to find us. On all the social medias. You got Instagram, we've got TikTok. Stay up to date on those. And of course, give us a like, subscribe,
Comment.
a comment,
Phone call.
share it, send us a message. We love to hear when people like have things to talk about because of what we've talked about.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we love that you join in on the conversation, and we want to join in on you joining in on our conversation. That was a lot of words.
That was a lot of words. And if you didn't get it, that's okay.
That's also okay.
You don't need to agree with us to be friends with us. So-
Exactly. Exactly.
But hopefully you
Yeah.
got to know and love our friend Salma as we do. And hopefully you have friends in your life like Salma. That's what I want for
I
you
want
guys.
you to have friends like Salma.
Anyway, anyway, guys, thank you again for joining us. We've had a great time, and hopefully you did too, and we will see you next time.